Hey, my name is Tyler, and this is my new channel, All Freedom Block Garage. Today we're working on my 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. This tank right here has an 8.1 liter big block, the Gen 7. Last big block that GM has ever made. So, little history on this truck. I bought it back in January of 2023 of this year. It is this year. And I bought it for, a little more than what it's worth. But hey, I saw a big block and I was just like, I had to have it. Now, a little history on how I found this truck. So I was looking for a new truck. I got rid of my other truck. The frame was rotted. That truck had nothing but problems. I was always dumping money into it. So I decided to get a new truck. I saw this truck on one of the websites, that you find used vehicles, and I looked at it. I was just like, yeah, I'm not a very big fan of it. The paint is faded, it's bad. I would have to repaint it and everything, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I should really do this. But, as time went on, I was looking at other vehicles. I went 3 hours away to go look at one vehicle. I went 2 hours to look at another vehicle. I mean, one day I spent all day. I mean, I'm saying about 16 hours looking at vehicles, and I was just like, I can't find the one for me. Then I spent about a week looking on those same pages trying to find a new truck. I came up across this one again. I'm just like, maybe I should, take another look at it and see what goes on. I was just like, you know what, that paint looks a little faded. I don't know if I want to paint it and, make it look good. But then I started looking at the post more. The frame is rust free. This truck is from Arizona. So I was looking for a truck that was rust free, low miles, and I could have for a very long time. This truck was starting to fit that description. Then I started reading the description of that post, and it was just like, hey, this thing's a 8.1 liter big block. It's from Arizona. It has low miles, and it has a rust-free frame. I mean, it was like a dream come true. That day that I, was looking at the description and everything, I went to go take a look at this truck. I drove it for about a half hour. I was doing safety checks. I was looking at it. I was doing everything I could. I was checking to see it wasn't burning oil. It wasn't that the gas wasn't getting into the oil. I was making sure there wasn't any coolant. I was making sure that everything was fundamentally sound. I mean, I took my old truck there. I took a jack. I took some tools. I went and I searched through this vehicle. I took a code reader to make sure everything was right. I did a quick VIN scan for Carfax to see what I could get on this vehicle. This vehicle was clean, fundamentally sound, and drives like a champion all the time. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna put some money down on this vehicle real quick. I'm gonna come back later in the week. I'm gonna come pick up this vehicle. I picked up this vehicle later that week, and I was the proud owner of this 2001 GMC. Now, a little more history on this vehicle. This vehicle here is, I wouldn't say a dream truck of mine, but it's definitely high up there. I was looking for something a little bit newer, but hey, it had a big block. You see a big block, you gotta go, right? So let's get you guys up and tight in this vehicle. All right, guys, so this vehicle came with aftermarket wheels, a 3-inch lift kit in the front and back, and this vehicle, or this truck, I should say, came with towing mirrors, a tint. I mean, when I was going to get a new truck, I was going to have to do all this anyway. I was going to have to put a lift kit on it. I was going to have to put aftermarket wheels. I was going to have to put towing mirrors on it. I was going to have to tint it and everything. This truck was just starting to fit that description more and more each day. I mean, the bed is immaculate. I mean, it's got the bed liner. It's got a toolbox. It's all around perfect. It's got a aftermarket dual tip system. So look at these dual tips here. These dual tips. I mean, dual tips. It has no cats. It has a Flowmaster. Still, this truck is beautiful. The interior is clean. It's got 136,000 miles on it, or it just passed 137,000 miles on it. It's got a big block that is just all around a good big block. I mean, it's the last big block, right? The interior is absolutely clean in this truck. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, it's got a little dirty because of me, but I mean, look at this interior. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, if I pop the hood, and I can get you guys in on what's under the hood. Okay, so like I said, it's got the 8100, and yes, I also checked the VIN and I checked the block cast numbers. Now, a little bit of what I've done to this, I put a new battery in it. I've done new plugs and wires all around. I didn't want to do any of that just yet. I wanted to drive the truck a little bit, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Now, no, this is not a actual cold air intake. It does have the factory air. Just this overall is aftermarket technically. Now, there's been a lot done to this already. We got a new alternator. We got a coolant flush, brand new brakes and stuff all around. Now, a little bit on that, I should say I've done brakes all around. So, a little bit of history on that. I've done a lot of brake stuff. So, my brakes kept locking up. I kept, releasing pressure. I've been putting air in the system. I was putting grease on the slides, the pins. I was putting so much time and effort into it. And then I put new calipers and pads in the rear. I was still having the same problem. Then the front started locking up. And I was just like, all right, I need a new brake master. Come to find out that my brother, he called our local mechanic and he goes, hey, we're having a little problems with this truck. This truck, it's the brakes overheating. Like they'll slowly begin to start grabbing, even if you're not even pressing on the brake. I mean, I was going down the highway and my brakes would just start locking up out of nowhere. I'm like, I need to get a new brake master. But then the mechanic said, you just need to grease those slides and pins. So I did it again and it still was locking up. Then I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm getting a new brake master. I got a new brake master cylinder. My problems have been gone. I did that about 2 or 3 months ago, and it's perfect. I mean, I'm not having any problems. It's great. They're not gradually locking up, nothing. So then, the brakes are working great. Everything's doing good. But then I get under there, and the carrier bearing was completely shot. I mean, there wasn't even a bearing in there. Or the bearing came out of the mold, and it was just flopping like this under there. And so I had to replace that. Then I replaced the Pitman arm and the idler arm and idler arm bracket. That took me 2 days to do. It was the biggest pain in my neck I've ever dealt with. Then my power steering was just leaking and it was weird. I had to replace that. So I had to replace my steering box. Leak is gone. So then I was just like, hey, my truck is running good and everything. Next, it's just, it needed a little TLC. So TLC is all done for right now. I'm about to put some more parts into it that it needs. But then when I bought this truck, I knew that it had its problems. So the rear windows, the rear locks do not lock. They don't. Or the rear windows do not go up and down. The rear locks do not lock. The front windows and front locks do work. I knew that was going to be a problem. So I got to figure that out. Other than that, that was the only problems that I had with this truck. Other than, the paint. It does need to be repainted and everything, but I'm not really worried about that just yet because I am going to be repainting it in the summer. I do have a Camaro. I do drive that during the summer. Gets way better gas mileage, and it's my summer daily, and this is my winter daily. But now, let's get into what we're doing. All right, so let's get into what we're doing today. So I replaced my transfer case output shaft seal, and It needs a little bit more gear oil. I didn't really put any in it. It was leaking over time, so now I need to put some more in it. This is a fuel filter. I've not changed that yet, and you're supposed to change that at least every 30,000 miles. At least that's what I would change it at, so I'm going to change it now. Because everything that I've seen under there is basically factory. And no, I mean, whoever had this truck before me did take good care of it, but they also didn't do the necessities that it needed. They just did what they wanted it to look aesthetically. Then it needs a new gas cap. So the tether on the gas cap, broken. So I always have to set it on top of the toolbox, and you know, I don't want to forget it. So new gas cap with a new tether. Now it needs a oil level sensor. I changed the oil in it as soon as I got it because I didn't know when the oil was changed. So I changed the oil, and you know, you're supposed to be able to reset the oil level or the change engine oil light. I did that. It worked. Then I would say about a couple weeks ago, it came back on. I reset it. It did go away, but then I would say about 20 minutes later, it came back on. And it wouldn't go back off. So I got to replace this. It should be an easy fix for all this. At least that's the hope anyway. Now, Berryman's. I'm going to be using this a lot, especially in the next couple of videos you guys are going to be seeing. I'm going to be working on a power washer, a log splitter, my Camaro and stuff. So this is very handy. It's a fuel system cleaner. That includes fuel pumps, fuel filters, carburetors, fuel injectors, all that goodness. It cleans everything. Yeah, you could use Seafoam, you use SDP. I prefer Berryman's because it's a lot stronger, and it's also a good cleaner for everything fuel system related. Seafoam, it cleans up a little bit, but this is my highly recommended stuff. Now, I'm not sponsored by Berryman's or anything like that, but if you're going to do a fuel system cleaner, this is what you're going to use. All right, so I'm going to start with the easiest thing, and that's going to be the gas cap itself. So the only problem with this is that I got to use some other key just to open the thing. It's not a problem. But other than that, it's an easy fix. So like I said, I can just take this out of here. I don't like that. So now we just got to get these clips out of here. Or get this one clip out of here. We should be good to go. So this out of here. Yep. They do make a tool for this. Unfortunately, I don't have that tool. So this is a little bit harder to deal with. Ah, got it. All right, cool. Now, what's new? Well, let's see if it like threads in first. Perfect, it does. Now the tether isn't like the normal tether that you would see, but it's still a tether. Still something there. Now, get one of the clips. This looks like a jumbo clip. Yep, that's too big. Now they do give you an assortment of it. You just got to figure out which one is going to work for your vehicle. Every vehicle is different. You got a different clip holding it in. Too small? Rejects. Like this one's going to be too small. Too small? That one's going to be too small. Yep, that was too small. Let's hope the last one will fit. Oh, the last one is a little too small. I mean, it goes in there, but it's a little too small. Now, I'm going to see if the big one will fit in there. Little pushing and manipulation. There. Now we have a tether. Or more importantly, now we have a gas cap that one works and two stays. Would you look at that? You know, it's the small victories, people. Small victories. All right. Now, perfect. Would you look at that? It works. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to put that Berryman's down the yap. All right, guys. Now, when you're messing with steel lines, um, you really want to use two wrenches, so you're not going to twist the steel line itself and break a steel line, and you're trying to do the hack way of putting a rubber line and try and fix it that way. So, best way to do it is to use two wrenches. Now, yeah, you are going to get some fuel coming out of it, but you should be okay. Cool. Now, it is okay if you do it this way. It doesn't hurt it any. Um, just understand that it's not always the ideal way of doing it, but hey, if it works, right? That's not right. Now, when you guys are doing this, you do want to make sure that it's tight. But you don't want to make sure that, or you don't want to make it so tight that it doesn't, or that it breaks a line. So a nice good little snug-a-dug will do just fine. Now, fuel filter is in, it's all good, and it's ready to go. All right, guys, so now I found the oil level sensor. Now all we gotta do is just take it out. Now, you have to find the right socket, you have to find everything for your make and model. So now let's just pop up that clip, pull it out, there's that part. Now, let's just pull her out. Alright guys, so there's nothing wrong with the exhaust. I just need to fix one thing. I was going to look at a job and this came undone, or this broke, so I just, quickly I tied some wire to it and hopefully it was going to work. It did. It's been a good permanently temporary fix. So now it's just time to get this undone and out of here. I have fixed this one part before, but it didn't stay very long. So now I'm going to do a really good job of burning it in. All right, guys, so I got it all figured out. I did an oil change on my truck and the light went away. I did unplug the battery and let it sit for about 5 minutes. The light and the message center indicator light is now gone. It's perfect. It's running great. Now, all I'm going to go do is go get some gas, ride it around a little bit, and see where it goes from there. So, remember, not everything is going to go the way that it should. That's what I figured out working on anything. That's with go-karts, lawnmowers, mini bikes, cars, boats, and stuff like that. It's never going to go the way that you want it to. Although it's really nice, and it would be really nice if it did. But remember, life doesn't go the way that it should, or the way that you hoped it will. So now I'm going to go take this, go for a little bit of a ride, and then I'm going to put her back in where she should be, tucked away. And remember, if you ain't bleeding, you ain't succeeding. I'm Tyler. This is all Freedom Block Garage. See you later.